Good evening, you're watching Plain Speak with me, Toya Singh. Today evening, we're taking a look at the Ram Mandir finally opening its doors to the public this morning as thousands pour in. Politics very much continues to play out around the ceremony across the entire country. We're starting with the TMC that led right from the front, accusing the BJP of being anti-women for not honouring Sita too and calling the BJP out once again for politicizing religion ahead of the Lok Sabha polls. Now, of the INDIA alliance partners, it is the TMC that's messaging has perhaps been the clearest, with Banerjee taking out a multi-faith rally yesterday where she was accompanied by religious leaders from multiple different denominations. You have the Congress, for example, that has had a more mixed response to all that has taken place in Ayodhya, and we'll cover each of the other INDIA leaders in just a second. But as the Sangh Parivar steps up their Ram belongs to all, Sabka Ram pitch and frames all of yesterday's developments in a victory for all light, we look to understand the opposition's complaints and how they hold up against yesterday's ceremony. This is our show tonight. Okay, to take a deeper look at this story, let's take a look at the different opposition reactions. We promised to tell you what it is that different INDIA leaders have had to say, how they responded to the Pran Pratishtha ceremony that was taking place yesterday. So let's take a look first at the DMK in Tamil Nadu. Remember that you had Nirmala Sitharaman, the union minister, make the accusation that in Tamil Nadu, the Pran Pratishtha ceremony was not being screened in many places, pujas weren't being allowed. The Tamil Nadu government has clapped back. They've said that this is rumour mongering. Nothing of this nature took place. Let's move on to the next leader. Okay, Mamata Banerjee, West Bengal. As we told you a little while earlier, hers has been the sharpest attack. In terms of those who you see who've been aggressive and led, her attack has been the loudest from within the INDIA. She said it's wrong to embrace a place of worship built on the corpses of the innocent. Remember, when you understand each of these leaders' responses, understand also their vote banks and how they play into each of these responses. Let's take a look now at the Congress, where you have Siddaramaiah, who is someone whose policies in the past too have stood by a secular ethos, a secular appeal. He's made this comparison, and this is something he said yesterday while thousands of Havans were carried out in Karnataka and he inaugurated a statue of Ram. He said that Congress worships Mahatma's Ram and not the BJP's Ram. So this is three leaders we've taken a look at: Siddaramaiah, the West Bengal Chief Minister, and before that the DMK's Chief Minister in Tamil Nadu. So these are all Chief Ministers is what I'm trying to highlight here. Now, what did the Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan have to say? For them, perhaps the opposition is the easiest. The CPIM was the first to come out and issue a formal statement saying they wouldn't attend the Pran Pratishtha ceremony. They've said that celebrating a single religion is wrong, and in fact in Kerala there is one school that announced closures for a part of the day, and an investigation on that is currently taking place, announced by the government. Now, what is Saduddin Owaisi from the AIMIM said? He said they say forget December 6th, which remember is the date the Babri Masjid was demolished in 1992. Can they forget their parents' death? That's what Owaisi has asked. Okay, so these are a few opposition responses. We've also brought you a little context on everything that's taking place. Let's now take a look on the screen behind me at the Congress, because we haven't highlighted them in the way that we'd like to right now. So we showed you already what it is that Siddaramaiah in Karnataka had to say. He's the Chief Minister. Now we're going to bring you the responses of two very senior leaders. These are all more recent attacks that have taken place in the last few hours. Veerappa Moily, senior Congress leader, saying, I doubt if the Prime Minister fasted for 11 days. Remember, the Prime Minister had said that he would be taking part in, and our reporters had reported this too, that over the 11 days before the Pran Pratishtha ceremony, he was only drinking coconut water, he was sleeping on just a blanket on the floor. That had been part of the ceremonies in the run-up to the Pran Pratishtha. Now, Moily's also said if he hasn't fasted, then the sanctum has been made impure. So this is what Moily has had to say. Now, what is the other response we've got coming in from a Congress leader? They've said that a couple should have presided over the Pran Pratishtha ceremony. This isn't the first time we're hearing this particular response. The way in which the Pran Pratishtha was done, the role that Modi played, this many questions have been asked about. Here he said, when rituals are broken, one will have to face a bad omen. We're going to take a look at all of these responses and what the different leaders have to say in response right here on the show tonight. As you can see, he's also saying here the Prime Minister is an autocrat. This is a continuation of a messaging we've heard throughout the day from other leaders too. You can see it on your screens right now. And it's also important to point out over here that we have had a vast array of responses. Okay, this is the topic for the day tonight. As the politics rages on, the Sabka Ram that the BJP says and the Sangh Parivar says, is that actually a valid concept? Let's take a look tonight.
People who want to worship Ram, who's now coming back to his city into a proper temple. We would like to watch it.
Chief Minister has very rightly called the BJP as the university of a WhatsApp university which spreads false information.
ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯವರು ರಾಮನ್ನ ಪೂಜಿಸ್ತೀವಿ, ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ರಾಮನ್ ಪೂಜಿಸಲ್ಲ.
ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ನವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದವರು. ಅವರು ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮರ ಓಲೈಕೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ, ಅಲ್ಪಸಂಖ್ಯಾತರ ಓಲೈಕೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ, ಇದು ರಾಮನ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು.
কোথায় ছিল সেদিন যেদিন বাবরি মসজিদ ধ্বংস হয়ে গিয়েছিল?
As those who have pledged to preserve and protect our constitution, let us reaffirm our commitment to its secular character by declining to participate in the event, upholding our constitutional responsibilities.
कोई जीबी पंथ की बात नहीं करता, कोई डिसेस की बात नहीं करता, और जब आप इन तमाम सियासी जमातों से पूछेंगे क्यों नहीं बात करते, तो बोलते अरे भूल जाओ ना भाई तुम लोग। मैं इन लोगों से पूछ रहा हूँ, तुम्हारी बाप की मौत को भूल सकते क्या तुम तुम्हारी माँ की मौत को भूल सकते क्या?
Joining us to take a deeper dive into this discussion tonight, we have with us an entire panel. Charu Pragya, spokesperson for the BJP, Ravi Srivastav, a political analyst, and R. Rajagopalan, senior journalist, join us right now to provide us with context. We will have more experts joining us in just a second, but let's start first with the BJP. Before we go over, ma'am, to you, I just want to tell all of our panelists, I'll come over to you first for an initial response on this entire topic, then we'll take a deeper dive. Charu Pragya ma'am, I want to come to you first and ask you, we just walked our audiences through everything that it is that the opposition has had to say. Now, a lot of this isn't new. These are all statements we've heard variations of over the last month. I do want to ask you though, particularly to Mamata Banerjee's rally that she took out yesterday afternoon, the strong words she directed towards the BJP. What did the BJP make of the opposition's responses all through the day yesterday?
So, a very good evening to you and a very good evening to all our viewers. Now, look at the irony of the Indian political opposition. They have criticized the BJP for decades, saying that our manifesto has always included building of the Ram Mandir. And why haven't we built it already? The famous line we've heard while growing up is मंदिर वहीं बनाएंगे लेकिन तारीख नहीं बताएंगे. तो आज मंदिर बन गया है, भगवान जी का प्राण प्रतिष्ठा हो चुका है. They are worried now कि मंदिर क्यों बन गया? Look at the irony. So they are upset with us because we are delivering on all our manifesto promises, whether it was the abrogation of Article 370 or the construction of Ram Mandir. Now, all these political statements which are coming from various opposition leaders are frankly laughable, because you knew the Supreme Court had given a verdict which was in favor of Ram Lalla. You knew that the construction of the Mandir had already started. It's going to be inaugurated anytime soon. When you call it political, you forget that actually all of you were invited. In mass, if you had attended, in number you would have been greater than any BJP representatives, because BJP was not invited. The person who was representing the entire country for all of us was Modi ji. You could have been there. You could have taken a delegation there. You could have written letters saying, I am unable to attend, but my deputy will be there. You didn't bother because you had to tend to your vote banks. You didn't bother because you still rely on appeasement politics and not the politics of development. And those who are again talking in loops around the usual liberal agendas of talking about Garibi or talking about development, let me remind them that a record number of 25 crore people have risen out of poverty in India in the last 9 years. So please don't think that our dharma is linked to the developmental work that we do on ground. They are completely independent of each other, and we can make sure that we take care of both.
Okay, Ms. Pragya, thank you for the starting statements. I'll go over to each of our panelists now to understand more. I want to go over right now to Ravi Srivastava, who's with us. So I want to ask you, when we just take a look at all of the different opposition responses, you have a party like the TMC that was very sharp and very coordinated in their attack. Mamata Banerjee speaking in a single line. Say what you will off the perspective she had. It was a singular position. So compared to that, there is a Congress where you had a far more scattered voice coming through. Now, I know the Congress tried to say that was them allowing their leaders to pursue whatever it is that they believed in. But when you saw all of yesterday's developments, some Congress leaders even choosing to attend the ceremony, Congress leaders hosting Havans, the Chief Minister in Karnataka hosting Havans at the same time saying that we only respect Gandhi's Ram. What did you make of that entire approach, sir? Just focusing on the Congress.
Good evening, Toya. First of all, I find one positive out of it. The positive is that you, not alone you, entire media had been talking in last 5-6 months. Opposition is fragmented, opposition is fractured, opposition is divided. They are fighting among themselves. They are creating all kind of confusions in the minds of people. One issue where entire opposition has been found standing on a single ground. I think you show me one person from the opposition who had been there. And it is not that somebody opposes Ram Mandir. Ram Mandir is a great event. It is absolutely a fabulous thing to happen in India. But it does not mean that the kind of narrative being created that if you are not attending the event, you are against it. You could be having different opinions as well. What Arvind Kejriwal has done in Delhi, he made a Sundarkand part. Even yesterday he was chanting various religious things and events he was attending yesterday. So everybody has done it in his own way. People have their own way of worshipping. See, the religion is a matter of darshan, philosophy. Religion is not a matter of pradarshan.
Okay, Mr. Srivastava, let me just ask you one question here though. So I appreciate what you're trying to say, that look, the INDIA alliance had different stances on this. I think that's what you're trying to say. They had different stances on it, and each party was allowed to practice what it believed. So you had, for example, the Aam Aadmi Party that welcomed the Ram Mandir, that held various ceremonies across Delhi, for example. You had a party like the Congress that sent some of its leaders inside the Pran Pratishtha, and you also had some leaders who stayed away. And then, of course, you have other parties that altogether stayed away, like the TMC. But sir, I want to ask you, and that's what I was asking you here, from Mamata Banerjee, you had a sharp attack, and the TMC was unified in that attack. So the Congress in itself had multiple different voices. Do you think that bodes well for a party, sir, for the fact, just to see that the party sat out during the last few weeks?
Absolutely. See, Congress is a very democratic party. Right in the beginning, they had said that whosoever wants to go and attend it can go and do it. Okay. On 15th of January, entire, I think, UP's Congress unit, they had gone there. They had taken on Makar Sankranti. They took the holy bath there. So this is their astha. This is their thinking. The opinions are, the comments are very, very sharp. The comment has come from Pinarayi Vijayan, is altogether different. The comment came from Mamata Banerjee, is also very different. And everybody has made his own way, his own mind clear. But as far as the Congress is concerned, I think they had taken on the very beginning, एक आधा अधूरा मंदिर है, हम नहीं जाएंगे और हमें ये जिस तरह से ये निमंत्रण पत्र बांट रहे हैं, this is not the way of talking.
But I'll ask you in just a second, sir. So just stay with us. I want to go over to the other panelists we have with us. We have senior journalist Sumansi Raman, who's also with us. Sir, I want to come over to you to ask you more about the developments that took place, particularly in Tamil Nadu. So you had something very interesting play out on social media, and I just want to give our audiences a little bit of context to understand this story. You had the Union Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, in a series of posts say that they weren't allowing, the police was not allowing the screening of the Pran Pratishtha to take place. She also made the allegation that that certain pujas for the Pran Pratishtha were being stopped. Now, when we spoke, you did have the DMK respond. The DMK said that none of this was true. But when our reporters spoke to the police officials on the ground, they said that the BJP never applied for permission in the first place. So, what was your perspective on the developments taking place on the ground in Tamil Nadu through yesterday?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, what happened yesterday was very simple. There were, day before yesterday, in fact, before the Pran Pratishtha, day before yesterday, there were reports that, worship in special pujas and archanas in temples, distributing free food to people, all of that was not permitted. Now, that apparently does not appear to be true, because almost everywhere that was confirmed that nobody was stopping them. What was actually stopped was the live telecast on LED screens, which were specially put up in private places. So the problem was, yesterday morning, the BJP, the Sangh Parivar outfits and their supporters went to court, both to the High Court, Madras High Court and the Supreme Court, and they got orders which where the government actually said, no, we have not stopped any of this. So actually the LED screens which were removed from where Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman was actually supposed to view the function, were then put back at around 11 o'clock or 11:15, so that after the court orders came. So the DMK government did make a mistake. They should not have stopped it, especially in private places. Public places is a different issue. They could have claimed a law and order situation and the police has got all the right. But in private places, what they did was extremely silly. And once the court, gave its orders, it became inevitable that these LED screens were going to be used. But it actually gave a little bit of a political point scoring for the BJP yesterday in Tamil Nadu, when they were able to sort of point to the DMK. And you would have seen many of the leaders of the BJP even put out the tweets in Hindi. So saying India Alliance, that was very clever, because they were, quite frankly, they are not really concerned about the DMK as much as they are about bashing the Congress on it. So they went to town, putting out tweets in Hindi saying, see what the DMK is doing. And not what DMK is doing as in DMK is doing, but see what the India Alliance parties are doing. So I think that yesterday the BJP scored not only in Tamil Nadu, but outside also, thanks to the the silly and immature way in which the DMK government handled the situation.
So I want to ask you, there have been two statements that have come in from Udyanidhi Salin in the last 6 months that have caused controversy. If we don't focus on the meat of those comments, and instead I ask you, sir, do you at all see the BJP, if we just look at the national plan of the BJP or the agenda that they've been following, do you at all see the BJP targeting the DMK in particular? Because this is what some experts believed yesterday when the union minister hit out.
Look, Tamil Nadu is rife with with the rumors that the DMK and BJP are actually quite close. And this entire thing is being done in an orchestrated manner to embarrass the India Alliance, particularly the Congress. So there is, though ideologically the DMK and the BJP are at rival ends of the spectrum, there is a very, very strong feeling. So, for instance, they're reading between the lines. A number of, ED raids happened. One minister was arrested. And after that, there has been a lot of silence. Nothing has happened in the last few months. And the bonhomie that was seen between... So the Prime Minister is invited to a Khelo India Youth Games inauguration. And he spends 2 hours in the function. He pats Mr. Udaynidhi on his shoulders with his father present. And, so the bonhomie is... So people are talking about it. People are asking, hey, what's going on? I mean, and at the state level, the leaders are going hammer and tongs at each other. So there is something. And one thing that people suspect is both of them are working in tandem to sink the AIADMK. And it suits the DMK to weaken the AIADMK because it makes 2024 Lok Sabha elections an easy win for them. But in the long run, if they allow the BJP to grow significantly in Tamil Nadu, then we know what the BJP has done in multiple states to such regional parties. So that could be the fate that will await the DMK. They have not understood that as yet. But as of now, the relationship between the two parties is much cozier than all these public fights that are going on.
Okay, Mr. Raman, thank you for taking us behind the scenes. Charu Pragya, I'll come to you in just a second. I saw your hand up. I just want to go over to our fourth panelist first. R. Rajagopalan is with us. He's a senior political analyst. Sir, can I ask you, this morning, if you just took a look at some of the editorials that have been written after all of the ceremonies we saw yesterday, one or two of them were particularly interesting because they questioned, and Charu Pragya talked about this right now. She talked about the fact that the Ram Mandir has forever been central to the BJP. The BJP's, not just the BJP's propaganda, but also what the BJP has openly said they wanted to achieve. Mr. Rajagopalan, I want to ask you, there was a question that a number of these editorials asked, that now that the BJP had achieved the opening of the Ram Mandir, what next? Could they perhaps reach over the aisle, reach out to minorities in a overwhelming manner? What do you see the next few years looking like?
That is what Mr. Mohan Bhagavat, the RSS leader, has also hinted at Toyaji. Mr. Bhagavat has very clearly said that there should be a boni home, there should be unity, there should be success. And that is also got reflected in Prime Minister's speech, and many editorials and even public debaters in television studios and in YouTubes, they articulated a subject, what Mr. Narendra Modi has said, Ram to aag nahi hai. So that type of fear, the Congress and also the opposition putting in the minds of voters, Mr. Narendra Modi demolished it. For another 25 years, up to 2035, up to 2047, what should be our role? Beyond Ram, it is now Ram Mandir Plus. That is what the editorials commented. And the Prime Minister's emotional speech yesterday also reflected that what are going to be in the store for BJP in another 10 years to come. Apart from that, Toyaji, I would like to say that opposition is totally divided. I totally support and agree with what Dr. Sumantaraman said. In Tamil Nadu, DMK is cozying up towards BJP, distancing from Congress. So that shows that Congress is, in a way, is getting disconnected in Tamil Nadu. Congress leaders in Tamil Nadu also saying that DMK is getting bad name because of the rehabilitation work after the tsunami and also these cyclones, etc. People are agitated, therefore they want to go towards the ADMK side. The overall picture, as Sumantaraman said, in Tamil Nadu, DMK and Congress alliance are on the break side. I can very safely say. And this is all pro postures. Yesterday, the Supreme Court judgment was very clear that freedom of expression, freedom of religious, control should not be banned. So if you add these things, joints, you get a clear picture that India alliance is almost dead in Indian politics.
Okay. Sir, can I just ask you to stay with us? I want to go over to Charu Pragya, who's with us. Ma'am, you've stayed with us as we've heard three other panelists. Obviously, I want to ask you to respond to each point we've just heard. But I also want to ask you, ma'am, and perhaps lead with this question. When we take a look at Mohan Bhagavat's statements yesterday and we look at some of the messaging in Prime Minister Modi's speech, and we believe for a second that the BJP in this new messaging, that this is a party that is going to stand for all, that it is going to stand for minorities. What will that new chapter look like?
So, Toya, let me take a moment to reflect on yesterday with a lot of pride. The first thing is that we saw the kind of crowds that turned up at Ayodhya. No police force could have kept it in check. You know how crowds can behave when in a mob. But nothing untoward happened. The whole country was fine. Whole country was safe, was celebrating as one. And this is a credit to Prime Minister Modi and his vision. He has worked on Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas every single day that he has been in office. And this is the truth. It doesn't matter what is the agenda and the narrative the opposition is trying to float. But the fact is that Prime Minister Modi yesterday spoke in such a beautiful, heartfelt manner that we were all moved to tears because he's right. Ram is not Aag, he's Urja. Ram is not, Vivad, he's Samadhan. And we have reached a point when we are looking at the Ram Mandir not as something that happened in the past. Ram Mandir is now going to be the vision for the future of this country for the next 1,000 years. And our Honorable Prime Minister said that. while we are talking about dharma, while we are talking about religion, it's not like we are disrespecting anyone else's religion. And Modi ji in his speech made that extremely clear. We are celebrating all festivals, but why is it that the opposition still feels that they cannot get forward in political life in this country if they don't resort to appeasement politics? I disagree with my fellow panelist, because he said that for the first time India Alliance has been united. No sir, I disagree with you, because this is the second time India Alliance has shown any kind of solidarity. The first was when DMK made a statement against Sanatan. There were echoes of approval coming from all these political parties who call themselves members of this so-called alliance. They approved of it. Nobody had the courage and to call out the wrong statements given by the DMK leader's talent. Nobody did it. And this time they boycotted the Ram Mandir, not because of any other thing, but only because they wanted to consolidate their vote share, and that's a fact. That is a fact that you cannot run away from. Ayodhya is going to be a center of civilization, culture, religion, everything. That also means that whole area is going to be developed. Awadh is going to see more tourism, more infrastructure, more hotels coming through. All kinds of projects have been launched already. So this is about bringing a better way of life to the people in every single part of the country. Now you were also saying that Stalin and PM Modi have something.
Sorry, we just have a minute left. We just have a minute left.
In
So,
secret.
Shari
I
Pragya,
disagree with you.
1 second. We just
yeah,
have
I'll
a
be
minute
very
left.
quick. Just 10
no,
more
no, no,
seconds.
I want to
10
ask
more
you a
seconds,
question and
please.
we'll come to you for the answer here. Ma'am, just before
Yeah.
we came to this entire debate, we
Sure.
brought breaking news to our audiences that in Maharashtra, bulldozers were used on the houses of many people who stopped processions yesterday. Ma'am, the path of law and justice, the use of bulldozers, when yesterday we heralded the use of law in our country. Ma'am, do you not see this as the BJP going back on their own message when it is BJP leaders yesterday who asked for the bulldozers to be used of the Maharashtra government?
That is Sabka Saath.
See, so
That is
no,
Sabka
1
Saath.
minute. No, you know what?
Please allow
you
Charu
want to
Pragya to
float
respond.
this narrative, but let me assure you of one thing. Let me assure you of one thing. This exact piece of news I have not seen yet, but I assure you, wrongdoing is wrongdoing. It doesn't matter who is doing it, what is their political ideology, and nobody in Bharatiya Janata Party is going to endorse any kind of wrongdoing. Let me look more into the matter of why the bulldozers were used, but I assure you of one thing on behalf of the party.
Okay, all right. I'd like to thank all of the panelists that we have with us for joining us over the last few minutes.